Let's do a customer success interview. Want to join me? Hi everyone, my name is Elisa, and in this channel we talk about all things product, tech, career, and life. So if any of that's interesting to you, I highly recommend you subscribe. I've also got an Instagram account where I post frequently, and I do one-on-one calls for interview prep, presentation prep, or career coaching. So if any of that's interesting to you, check out the link in my description. So I know what you're probably thinking. Why is Elisa, a product person, doing a customer success mock interview? Well, I'll tell you. When I look at my YouTube analytics, there is one thing that really confuses me. The top search term that leads people to my channel is customer success. Now, I have one video about customer success, and it was a part of a series I did where I explained different jobs that are in tech organizations. And that video is one of the first search results that comes up when you look for customer success. And while I am not an experienced customer success manager or leader, I do have a connection with someone. This person is a customer success lead. He has tons of experience in the customer success world and has interviewed a lot of customer success candidates. I'm also legally bound to him. Yes, he is my husband. And because we are married, he had no choice but to accept the fact that he would have to be in a mock interview video with me. Now, before we dive into the interview itself, there's a couple things I want to cover. First of all, in this interview, the interviewer, which will be me, asks a couple behavioral questions. Now, behavioral questions are the tell me about a time when questions. When answering these questions, we follow the nugget plus SAR methodology. So this means the candidate responds by first giving a nugget of information about the story he's about to tell, and then lays out the situation, the action he took, and the result. I'll also ask a situational question in this interview, which is more hypothetical. So something like, imagine you're in a situation where type of a question. Now, for answering this question, we follow what I call the RAA framework. The candidate first repeats the scenario just to make sure they fully understand what's being asked and to give them a little bit of time to think. Then the candidate lists out their assumptions, and then they talk about the actions they would take in this hypothetical situation. In this interview, I will be the interviewer and Sam will be the candidate. But before we go any further, it's time for a quick ad break. Real quick, I want to take a moment to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Scrintal. Scrintal is an amazing visual note-taking app that converts your creative ideas into structured knowledge. And I'll be honest, I always have a hard time finding a good note-taking app that I can use for the long haul, but Scrintal has really been a great platform for me. I recently started using Scrintal to help me plan my content for Elisa Works, and it has been great so far. Let me show you what I've been doing. So this is what Scrintal looks like. If you're familiar with Miro or Obsidian, this probably feels familiar to you. You can create different cards and can color code your cards accordingly. This is my planner, so it is my to-do list where I figure out what needs to get done this week, today, and then I can mark off what has already been done. There are also plenty of different types of boards that you can create. I have a board for my YouTube video ideas, and this is what I've been using the most. A lot of times I'll just have a video idea and I want to jot it down quick. I've obfuscated the titles of these videos so that you don't know what's coming next. But in each of these cards, if I double click into it, you can see a lot of the strategy that I document for each video. And in terms of strategy, I need to ensure that I'm making content that is valuable and that will perform well. And I can color code each of my video ideas for ones that I think are great or possible ones, or just flat out bad video ideas. You can also connect cards together, which is great for me because when I create a video on YouTube, I need to connect it to an Instagram post as well as a LinkedIn post. So it helps me keep everything organized. There's also some great templates in Scrintal. I am really excited to use this strategy brainstorm template that they created. With this template, it helps you structure your creative brainstorming ideas into actionable next steps. So there's a quick overview of Scrintal. I highly recommend recommend you check it out if you're looking for a note-taking app that is more visual and can help you transform your creative ideas into structured knowledge. If you are interested in Scrintal, click the link in the description and make sure to use the Elisa Works discount code, which will give you 10% off. Thank you so much, Scrintal, and I hope you all are able to check it out. Now let's get back into the meat of the video. All right, folks, it's time for our mock customer success interview. I'll hand it over to Sam briefly, and then we'll dive right on in.
Hi, my name is Sam. I've been in customer success for 6 years. I currently lead a team of CSMs and have interviewed a lot of candidates for a wide range of CS roles. In these interviews, I generally look for these 4 things. First, I look for de-escalation skills for when customers are unhappy. Second, I look for relationship building skills in customer-facing roles. Third, I look for investigative skills for sales tactics and understanding if customers are at risk. And third, I look for people who have empathy for their customers. In this interview, I will be a candidate, and I'm going to show you what I look for in a CS role. Now let's dive into the interview.
Hi, Sam. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So before we dive into any questions, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I can do that. So I am currently a manager of customer success, but had a little unconventional way of getting here. I actually started out in insurance in San Diego, California, where I really learned that I had a pretty big passion for building relationships and being customer facing. I loved traveling to client sites, doing presentations, building relationships, and helping kind of solve business needs. From there, I really wanted to get into technology and software. There was a lot of opportunity where I lived, so that was definitely something I was interested in. So I eventually became my first kind of customer success role. We were called account managers, but we did the same thing as customer success managers, where I really kind of dug into handling a book of business, building relationships with customers, and I really liked that. I really wanted to get more sales experience, so I actually eventually moved into a solutions consultant role, which was really interesting in itself because I was able to get into the ground floor of a company and learn the ins and outs and how we can actually attract customers and sell customers, which I gained a ton of experience building those sales skills, which have been really transferable to customer success. Really missing that relationship building and handling kind of a book of business where I can, talk to customers for more than a sales cycle. I moved back into a customer success role, handling more complex accounts, higher revenue accounts, and eventually moving into the role I am now, where I get to teach CSMs how to be successful and grow within the role.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So now I want to dive into a couple just behavioral questions. Can you tell me about a time where you had to deliver bad news to a customer and just how you handled that?
Yeah, sure. Let me tell you about a time, where, I've had a few of these, but where a feature release date that was really important to a customer was pushed back. This has happened many times, and it's a really, important part about being a CSM. The situation was we promised a customer an important feature during the sales cycle. So before I was actually introduced, it was one of the features that led the customer to actually sign the contract originally. After the account was handed over to me as the CSM, I unfortunately got the news that from the product team that we were not going to be able to deliver that feature that current quarter, and that we're going to push that feature release back to the second quarter, which was definitely going to have an impact on the customer who just signed the contract, who was ready to go and needed this feature to get the full value of the solution. What I did after learning this, and kind of the first thing was I set up a call with the customer, and not just including myself, and the main points of contact, but including all the key decision makers in the sales cycle from the customer side, as well as the champion, so who actually will be using the product and wanted to use this solution in the first place. So I did this rather than communicating via email. I wanted to make sure that I was able to do this in person via call instead of email to make sure the customer knew I cared about their situation and was doing everything I could to resolve it. Before the meeting, I also spoke to our internal product team to fully understand what the delay was to ensure that we had confidence that the updated release date was a sure thing, so we would communicate the right date to the customer and not deliver something we'd have to later walk back. I also, which was really important, was to include the product manager on the call. This was to, make the customer feel like they were a priority and being heard, because the product team was actually going to own releasing the feature. So it was helpful to have that main point of contact on the product side to able to help me communicate that message. On the call, I ensured the customer that their concerns were heard, made them understand that the product team and I valued them as a customer, and that we were going to make sure that the feature would not be delayed further. I also, which is really important, asked the customer to describe the specific value that they wanted to get from the feature to the product manager to ensure that we, first of all, build the right feature that was going to immediately deliver value for them. After this call, we ended up having with the customer, the customer was for sure upset, was disappointed that the feature was going to be delayed. But having that call with the customer and the product manager really helped the customer feel like they were supported by the company, by myself, by the product team, and agreed to not churn and stay for that feature to be released. We also kept in tight communication with the customer and the product team to ensure that the feature delivery was on track. And then, sure enough, the feature was released that following quarter, and the customer was satisfied and stayed with the company.
That's great. Thank you for walking me through that. Sounds like it was a relationship that could have been at risk, but sounds like you were able to navigate it really well. So that's cool. Can you tell me about, any project or initiative you've led while in the CS org, and just kind of what the initiative was and how you took it on and what the results were?
Yeah, sure. Projects are really important to every company, and it's something that obviously it helps me kind of showcase responsibility and owning something from start to finish. So I'll tell you about a time that I led a release of an internal customer success CRM tool,
Okay.
which is really important to the customer success department as well as the company overall. So the situation was our CSM leadership had recently purchased a subscription to a brand new CRM tool for the CSM team. I volunteered to help introduce and release this tool to the CSM team at the beginning of the year. So I had about a couple months to get this rolled out to the team. And myself and the leadership team definitely believe this product could really benefit the team as a whole. So the first thing I did once I volunteered and was able to lead this project, I researched the tool. It's really important to understand the tool to the best of your ability. I also connected with our customer success manager of the tool, and became an expert of the functionality, best practices, on how to leverage the tool and onboard new users. The CSM of that tool is really helpful to help me understand that. I then scheduled an internal meeting with the entire CSM department to provide a high-level demo, a training of the new tool. I also held a Q&A and created a FAQ that the CSM team could use later on. I also held weekly office hours to ensure everyone understood how the tool worked and how to get the most value out of the tool as well. To make sure this rollout was successful, I implemented metrics to ensure that the utilization of the tool was high, it had high engagement, and documented feedback for the team, which I then forwarded along to our customer success manager of the tool. The tool is really successful. The rollout went really well. Creating and documenting metrics really helped us understand whether the tool is right for us as a department, which it was. We had high utilization of the tool and continue to leverage the tool today.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Now I'm going to switch gears a little bit and I'm going to ask kind of a situational question for you. So let's say you have a customer that has 30 feature requests. How do you manage expectations with that customer? And then how do you also work with the product team to advocate for this customer?
Yeah, it's a hard one.
30 is a lot.
So yeah, 30 is a lot, something I've seen before, but so yeah, so let's say we have a customer with, 30 or more feature requests, and I need to manage expectations with the client and also work with the product team to prioritize and make sure this client stays happy. So let's assume that for this scenario that it's a strategic key customer, high revenue, and losing the customer would have a significant impact to our revenue and bottom line. The second assumption I'm going to assume here is that the customer, hasn't benefited from recent product features and releases, but the product team is aware of their needs. Does that sound like good assumptions?
That sounds great.
Okay, cool. So the first thing I would do is, right off the bat, schedule a call with the customer and have this as a major agenda item. If it was a cadence call, but if there wasn't a cadence call coming up, I would definitely schedule a call with the clients first thing. I would make sure that there would be a relevant product representative on the call to help communicate and prioritize these feature requests. In the call, I would ask the client to prioritize their top 10 features because, setting clear expectations that we're not going to be able to prioritize all 30, but if we can get 10 of those most important features prioritized, that's going to be a win for us and the customer. So the product team and I would also ask the customer to clearly define why the features would be valuable to them. This is to, make sure that we're building the right thing, but also see if these features that they're asking for could benefit other customers as well. At the end of the call, I would tell them that we will work internally to prioritize their most important feature updates, and I will get back to them as soon as possible. I would also make sure I create a shared document so we can keep track of those features that they want, so we know we're on the same page between myself, product, and the client on which ones to prioritize. So after the call, I would engage our product team and figure out how we can get the most important problems addressed within the next quarter, so we can keep this client happy and lift that burden of those features that are needed from the client.
Great. Thank you so much for walking me through that. I just have one more question that I want to ask you. What do you like about being a customer success manager?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. I would say, the biggest thing for me is I really enjoy building relationships with customers, and I do care about those customers because of the relationships I build. Having empathy is a really important part about being a CSM because obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff that goes wrong during implementation, during just the life cycle of a customer in tech, and building those relationships. So when those things go wrong is really important to keep them happy, and make sure that you're doing whatever you can to support those customers. Working in sales, you're usually working with the customers for a certain amount of time and then going to the next deal. I like being able to stay with those customers as long as possible, as long as their contract, and keeping them happy and building those relationships. That's a big piece of why I like being a CSM, and it's something that is very important when going into the CSM role. Another piece I really like about customer success is it's not all about supporting your customer through issues. It's also about being consultative and finding growth opportunities. I really like that piece where you are that trusted advisor for the client, so you're able to ask them pointed questions and investigate and find growth opportunities for the company. A lot of CSM roles have sales metrics, and that is a really fun part about the job is to be able to talk to clients about their growth plans, be consultative, and help them grow with you. Because hopefully your software is building more modules, building more tools, and it's fun to sell those to the customers that you're handling.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sam, for your time. I really appreciate it, and we will be in touch.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear back. Thank you.
Bye. So there you have it. There is an example of a customer success interview. I hope this is helpful for you if you've been trying to break into customer success, or if you're just interested in strengthening your behavioral and situational interview skills. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Sam, for participating in this video. I know you didn't want to do it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you want to hear more, please subscribe. Also, check out my Instagram and feel free to book a one-on-one call. That's a wrap, my friends. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.